Okay, this is a hypothetical scenario, just a made up movie, video, talk video. Here we go. Day 36. I think it's time to write down or record my memoirs of what has happened ever since Executive Order 39276-327, the Homeless Removal Act. It all sounded warm and fuzzy, but what it really was, it turned out after third day through the phone system, everybody found out what they meant by removal, Brazilian style. There was hit squads. The president enacted to remove them permanently. They looked at everybody as unwanted or undesirables. Yeah. Now everybody realized, wow, those illegals that came in across the border replaced the true Americans that got screwed over with their taxes. But after about the third day, all the homeless that escaped the hit squads, they ran to the woods. Little places they can get out in the national forest, state forest, this, that, and the other. Government underestimated them. They were armed to a T, but not organized. What we found out was they were in little pockets, little resistance here and there, and no matter what the government said at them, they just knew how to hide. They've been practicing this for years. They suspected the worst, and sure enough, the worst happened. And this is where I come in. State militias were activated, and they came up with an idea to start drawing lots for individuals to go in and talk to these individuals and get them organized in the resistance movement. And here I am, day 36. Of course, my number got picked. It sucked, but I look at it this way. Now I see who the true Americans are. Bloodshed's been crazy. It's been quite hectic. It's like Robin Sage on steroids. You can't put it into words, but thank God it's getting close to the end of summer because the stench, the screams, it's nuts. Reminds me of this book that Mark Cornke put out, Behold a Green Horse. A lot of things, food's scarce. They had, boiled owl and loin of lion, the once plentiful deer and elk, yeah. Some people are even eating long pig. For those that don't know, that's human. And which is kind of funny because they look at it, blacks, that's soul food. Like an Asian, that's Chinese takeout. Then you got the Mexicans, and then they got the whites. They call that's the other white meat, other pork meat. But desperate times calls for desperate measures. Everybody hoped and prayed this wasn't going to happen, but it did. So like I said, it's been the counts that I've seen and witnessed. It was nuts. Everybody kept saying it wouldn't happen, but it did. Way too much. It just happened. But now, 36 days in, it almost seems like a year ago, going in and finding these people, and then trying to convince them that I'm not government, and eventually they worked out a passcode, which was kind of nice because they couldn't shut off the internet, and that's how everybody was passing codes through the internet, through all kinds of different websites. It was insane. But like I said, I'm, had to finally have time to sit down because I thought it was just going to be a couple days in. Like I said, this is day 36. I'm tired. Poopy's tired. Woman's looking at me like I'm half crazy. But she's like, enough of this crap, and it was, went in, how it got started with me, how I got stuck out here was, I went in and pretend like I was camping. Yeah, I was talking to him, and some troops just popped out of nowhere, and yeah, one thing led after another, and now I'm stuck out here, trying to do the right thing, it's like Americans used to do, standing up for noble causes. We became our own worst enemy. We allowed this stuff to happen, but it is what it is, maybe something better will come out of this, but when a government can get this far and this crazy and enact a national order because, well, we don't like you because we think we know how to live. Yeah, And then they found out, too, that a lot of the problems with the homeless being blamed for everything, it was actually paid protesters going and making messes and doing all the nasty shit. They got videos of that, but nobody wanted to hear it. Yeah, that's one thing about living in this country. Nobody wants to hear the truth. But, like I said, this is just a short thing. It could turn into a real twisted video. All hypothetical. Real close to the truth. But, like I said, hopefully it doesn't happen. I just had a weird thought. But sometimes what the woman has noticed is when I speak it, it winds up happening. Let's just pray to God it doesn't happen. Like I said, it's the hypothetical little skit that could possibly turn into a movie. One hell of a fucking movie. So, till then, like and subscribe.